live. Welcome everyone to the first cabinet meeting of the new administration, May's cabinet meeting. Obviously this meeting is being live streamed. Some cabinet colleagues and officers are joining virtually, as they always do. Mario's made that possible. I'll just hand over to Jessica to read the protocol for participation in remote and hybrid meetings.
Good evening. Please only speak when invited to by the chair. All participating members are to keep their camera on during the proceedings unless you're having connection issues. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand and direct all communications via the chair. Please ensure officers remotely attending that your mics are muted when you're not speaking. If you are referring to a specific page or picture within the report, please refer to the page number. If you're having technical difficulties, please use the chat function in the Google Meet to alert the meeting. Please do not use the chat function for putting informal questions to the meeting or to make other comments. Any persistent destructive behaviour will result in removal from the meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica. As I said at the start, it's the first meeting of a new term, so welcome back to the refreshed cabinet and to your new roles. Clearly, we're all working to a new set of political objectives around working together for a better Hackney. I am really pleased that we continue to be one of the most diverse cabinets, as I said at full council last week, sitting alongside that wider council and its diversity around both ethnicity and women. It's majority women council. I think it's a majority women cabinet and executive team, and I'm really excited about the work we're already doing around anti-racism. Clearly, this is a slimmed down cabinet agenda, but it is still an important one. I made reference at the AGM last week to the investment in green homes and community energy, but there's also a paper securing our adventure playgrounds into the future that I've worked on with Councillor Woodley, and we're doing work around antisocial behaviour and ensuring our green spaces are for everyone. But I will come back to those themes as we move through the main cabinet agenda. Apologies for absence. I think we've got Sarah, Councillor Marima and Councillor Ette are remote. Everyone else is here. Are there any other apologies? Physically or virtually? Okay, so Councillor Williams will be a bit late. I think the Chief Executive is planning to join remotely. I was with him just a minute ago, so we'll take that as apologies for lateness as well. I've not been notified of any urgent items of business under item 2. Do we have any additional declarations of interest? No intention to conduct business in private. I've not had any deputations, questions or petitions. Just checking, no. So the unrestricted minutes of the previous cabinet meeting held on the 25th of April, are we happy to agree those? Agreed. Excellent. So moving on to item 7, which is the capital update and property disposals paper. As I highlighted at the front, a really important investment in our Green New Deal and our work for green recovery. There's over £500,000 investment in green energy in the report. I know an area that Councillor Cobham's been working with officers on to get to this point. So there's £200,000 investment in the Green Homes programme, which I think is the third phase of that programme, moving beyond grant applications to also look at how we can work with a street of terraced houses, which will be essential to delivering retrofit given the housing vernaculars that we have in Hackney. We also plan to engage around energy champions, again, working with, not to our residents, and how we explore new technologies such as heat pumps, solar panels, and the need of retrofit. The second half of the investment is around our community energy fund, again, working with residents, not to. This will be an initial capital investment for approximately 15 projects. I think both together show not just our political commitment to net zero and our Green New Deal, but also how we will do more in this administration to work with our residents, community and activists to deliver these programmes together, co-producing those solutions. So really exciting. I'm really pleased to table the paper. Happy to take any questions or comments from colleagues. Councillor Coban.
Thank you, Mayor Glanville. I just wanted to reiterate your points about Hackney's commitment to sort of tackling the climate crisis and this is the Community Energy Fund and also the Green Homes Programme is an essential piece of our plan as a part of our Green New Deal, which is all around how we create and initiate and double our green economy, creating local green jobs. Obviously, we'll be making much more announcements around how we're going to tackle toxic air pollution and obviously help reduce energy bills. And the Community Energy Fund is a fantastic new fund that we will be obviously announcing. It was something that we were inspired by the visit that both myself, yourself, Deputy Mayor Bramble, and other councillors went to visit Stoke Newington School, where we saw a fantastic partnership between Stoke Newington School. We saw Stokey Energy Company, of course, investment from the Mayor of London as well. And what we want to do is we want to work with residents, as you say, with community groups to sort of really amplify and sort of, really roll out this scheme across Hackney. And hopefully what we're going to be doing over the next few weeks and months is really engaging with lots of different groups to see where we can sort of further, reach our ambition of net zeros for schools, as Deputy Mayor Bramble always says. So I think this is a brilliant initiative and scheme, and, we can't wait to sort of move forward with this. And, I just want to re-emphasize the point about the green jobs part of it, because, often one of the things that goes unnoticed in these projects is the jobs that are created as a result of it. And that's why the partnership with community groups like Community Energy and Stokey Energy is incredibly important. So, commend this. Support your comments around the presentation of this to Cabinet, and hopefully we're going to be making much more ambitious plans around our, plan to tackle the climate crisis and obviously help rebuild greener Hackney.
Thank you, Councillor Coburn. Deputy Mayor Bramble.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to commend the work of Councillor Coburn and officers, and this is a really good piece of work and a good example of how we can empower and work in partnerships with our residents. Many of us know when we've been on the doorstep that many of our residents are very conscientious and want to make a difference, and I think this is a really good example about how this works, and it just chimes with all of the work that we want to start doing in schools. And I'm very excited about the work we're going to do about green jobs, very excited about green engineering jobs, and I know that that's something that's close to Councillor Coburn's heart as well. So just want to commend the piece of work, Mayor. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I can't think of something better to be doing in our first Cabinet meeting after the election. There is also building on Deputy Mayor Bramble's comments, an education programme for students and behaviour change in the piece of work highlighted. And the final bit I would add is, especially for residents of Woodbury Down, but also Councillor Kennedy and Maxwell's briefs, some investment in thinking about the future of the John Scott Health Centre and how it can continue to be invested in and deliver for residents, not just in that community, but in the wider borough. Are we happy to agree the capital update and investment? Agreed. Thank you. Excellent. So with me, but very much again in partnership, with my property portfolio, item 8 is the adventure playgrounds new leases. Our adventure playgrounds are clearly something that have, for 4 decades, really symbolised our commitment here in Hackney to play. Councillor Woodley and I were down there celebrating our play streets at, I think it was the playground in Haggerston, Pearson Street, adventure playgrounds, I think. And we know that we've got the return of Hackney Play Bus this year, and 10 years of Play Streets being celebrated as well. But whether we're providing those playgrounds, adventure playgrounds ourselves, or working in partnership with the third sector in the borough, we know adventure playgrounds make an enormous contribution to free activity for our young people and families, and they've also been part of the humanitarian response and food work around tackling holiday hunger and providing safe spaces for our young people to go and their families. So I'm really excited to see these lease proposals come forward. It will, I hope, provide a really strong foundation for our third sector partners to continue to grow and invest in those places with us in partnership. And obviously one crucial advantage that our third sector partners have is they're able to leverage in additional funding and support, and having that certainty over their premises is obviously really important. I might hand over though to Councillor Woodley to frame it in terms of her play portfolio.
Thank you. I mean, you to some extent covered it. This is quite a straightforward request to Cabinet to extend the leases by 10 years, and the reason being that we want to make sure that our adventure playgrounds are sustainable, that they're able to go out and court additional and external funding, And that they also have a bit of security, I guess, in their operation. There is a 5-year break clause in there in case mutually it's not working. But I do want to echo your comments in terms of how proud we are that we have a network, in fact, of 7 adventure playgrounds in our borough. There are moments where people question what happens to our youth services, where are they? And there they are, right across our borough. We have the Springfield Adventure Playground, better known to some of you as Kids Adventure, where we work with our disabled children's services to access the most incredible facilities for children with physical and complex needs. And then we have Shakespeare Walk Adventure Playground, or Swapper. Pearson Street and Homerton Adventure Playground are run by the Hackney Play Association, who also work with us on our play streets. And we'll be celebrating 10 years of those, as you indicated, Mary Glanville. And Evergreen Adventure Playground, an absolutely beautiful adventure playground. And I felt so fortunate that I was able to visit those during the height of the first lockdown in 2020, that we were able to continue a service to children and young people, really an alternative family for many children and young people to have somewhere to go, where they feel safe, where they feel respected, a truly inclusive and accessible set of places. And yes, I hope very much that everyone will support this report. Thank you.
Thank you. Did I see a hand? Councillor Etty.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Glanville. I sincerely want to commend this, because knocking on doors, I think one of the things that residents told us is, I mean, when we're looking about Shakespeare, say they're very confident that they still want a place where their children will continue to play. And there is no doubt, when we are talking about play, children and young people, they learn various opportunities through different types of play. I am really proud of this. I'm proud of the investment. And with regards to Cliswold Ward, residents will be extremely happy with regards to this, and also for other playgrounds. Thank you very much for taking the lead on Mayor Glanville and Councillor Woodley.
Thank you, Councillor Etty. Deputy Mayor Bramble and then Councillor Chapman.
Thank you, Mayor Glanville. Just to thank Councillor Woodley and the officers for the work that they are doing. Play is such an intrinsic part of children and young people's lives, and the fact that we offer this provision for free should not be underestimated. It is so powerful in so many ways for all of our communities. Whether it's been where Councillor Woodley and I have been down at Adventure Playgrounds in the rain, or fighting up over dressing up clothes, or it's speaking to one of our workers who started out playing in those schemes and now are managers. I mean, if you talk about the Hackney journey and story, you have it in our facility. So I just want to commend the work. Thank you.
Thank you. And just building on that before handing over to Councillor Chapman, this is a true partnership from across the council that has got to this point. You know, it's those third sector organisations and the link into the voluntary sector portfolio. It's Young Hackney running the other 2 adventure playgrounds that are not named here, because obviously we don't have to lease back to ourselves, and that way we engage with civic society. It is a really important partnership, and I thank the officers for getting this report to this point as well, because it's involved property, legal, children, young people, and everyone across the organisation. Councillor Chapman.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to add my thanks for the report, and obviously absolutely commend it. All the adventure playgrounds have a long history of providing open access, as Julie says in the report, play facilities and help and support for young people. But I hope I'll be forgiven for calling out Homerton Grove particularly, which I'm more familiar with than many of the others. It's been featuring Homerton Ward for many, many years, and with the help of this report and the proposals in it, hopefully for many, many more years to come, providing excellent service to our residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chapman. I'm assuming after all that, we're very happy to agree the report. The other notable bit is obviously the works to Shoreditch Park and the adventure playground there are well underway as well, which is important to Holston Ward. Happy to agree the report? Great. Okay, so Councillor Fajana Thomas, Wick Woodland, Hackney Marshes, surrounding area public safety protection order.
Thanks, Mayor Glanville. Colleagues, the paper before us is recommending to Cabinet to approve the Council to undertake a consultation exercise to gauge support in relation to the making of public spaces protection order, which will place controls on ASB caused by groups of people, gathering, bringing generators, lighting, sound systems, alcohol, decorations in weak woodlands, as well as Hackney matches and the surrounding areas. And these people often consume excessive alcohol as well. As the cabinet member for community safety, I'm very much in support of this proposal, as it will ensure our residents can have that good night's sleep they or so much deserve without disruption, and continue to enjoy these spaces daytime free from antisocial behavior, and the environment is protected. Damage to the environment has included things like fire damage, uprooting of trees, and sometimes or plants in the woodland. The PSPO, by introducing PSPO, this will ensure that community safety enforcement officers, as well as the police officers, have the necessary powers to deal with antisocial behavior in the area. Weak woodlands, Hackney matches, Mayfield Park, and the other areas highlighted in the Appendix 3 of this report are Hackney's green lawn. And we want to make sure that they remain places that everyone can enjoy. Following significant damage to this area, and as a result of cases of antisocial behavior, illegal music events, in 2019, a PSPO was introduced, but this PSPO is due to expire next month, 13th of June. So this order, this recommendation is to renew that PSPO, as well as extending the new PSPO to Hackney Matches, Millfield, Dubneyfield, and Mabley Green. The reason for this, what we have seen since the enactment of the PSPO in Weak Woodland in 2019, we have seen a significant decrease in the number of reported incidents of raves on licensed music events. But what has happened, we have seen these being displaced to other parks like the Hackney Matches, Millfield, Dubneyfield, and Mabley Green. During the lockdown, at a point, we had to seek injunction on Hackney Matches. So these are places that are meant to be a place of beauty for the borough, for residents here, and not for people to gather and have these events that are disrupting people's lives. So I hope by introducing this PSPO, we can ensure that we're responding to the needs of our residents. We do have various complaints from local residents around the unlicensed music events in the Weak Woodland. So I hope colleagues will support this so that we can continue to protect our residents as well as protect our environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor John Thomas. I think we're very powerfully made. And before I bring in Deputy Mayor Bramble, I think it's important to say we never do this lightly. It's based on an evidence base. It's based on a lived experience of people in and around those green spaces, as well as the protection for what are some of the more wild and important green areas of the borough. And it's really clear to us, I hope, and to people beyond this room, that the administration is not around stopping young people and adults enjoying themselves. It's about the appropriateness of that in different locations, and these aren't appropriate locations. We also, I think, know from the last 3 years, without some of these protections and the things that we put in place during the first and second lockdowns, what can happen in these spaces if we don't have these regulations, and I really do support it from the chair. Deputy Mayor Bramble.
Thank you, Mayor Campbell. I want to thank Councillor John Thomas and officers for all the work they're doing, and I know I appreciate the work, given my ward, London Fields, all of the different measures that we've had to put in place, and it sort of chimes with what we're doing here. We've got the progressive work that Councillor Coburn has talked about with our green economy, fantastic work around play and enjoying the environment, Councillor Woodley, but actually the work that sorry, Councillor Vajana Thomas is doing holds all that together, because actually we need to feel safe in our environment. And actually, we can all help our environment as well as how we look after our green space and how we treat them. And actually, as you said, we didn't come to this point lightly, but we take these measures to ensure, one, we protect our environment, but more importantly, that our residents feel safe to be able to enjoy ourselves, but also if they're staying at home, they aren't impacted by antisocial behaviour. So just want to thank you and the officers for the work you're doing. Thank you.
Are we happy to agree recommendations? What's the framework for the consultation, Councillor Vajana Thomas? Just that, when will it go live, and what are the next steps?
Thanks, Mayor Glanville. The next step is, if Cabinet approve this tonight, we, the officers are thinking going out to consultation from next week, and that will be for 6 weeks. So after the consultation, I'll need to bring this back, the outcome of that presentation, back to Cabinet and recommend the introduction of PSPO. At that point, again, Cabinet needs to either support or not support the recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you. Are we happy to approve the recommendations? Thank you. So next item is appointment to outside bodies. In my name, it would appear. Clearly, this is about sort of the start of the administration and tightening up those appointments. It clearly does involve people we know, but they are members of the council. So I don't think we need to make any additional declarations. Are we happy to approve the appointments? Great, agreed. Bear with me a second. There are no new items of urgent business. There are no exempt items, and that brings us, and there are no exempt urgent items as well. So that brings us to a close. Thanks very much all. Thank you.